What's up everybody, Alex here, and welcome to this Dota Underlords strategy guide for the Assassin's anti-meta composition. Now, what you got here is you got the final product here, albeit at 1 stars, but for the sake of this tutorial, we're going to stay at 1 stars. Let me just give a quick overview of what the general strategy is with this build. This is complete at 9 units. What you have here is you have Broodmother and you have Nyx Assassin. That is to give you your insect bonus, which is going to increase the survivability of your assassins by granting evasion bonuses. You have your Dragon Knight and your Viper, 2 extremely high tier units that are basically going to be one of your top damage dealing units amongst the assassins. They're going to be leading in DPS often enough. They are excellent units. They are relatively contested in this current meta, but they are worth it in this build. You have Faceless Void. Faceless Void is designed to punish corner comps, specifically scrappy corner comps. It allows for your Queen of Pain and your Viper to kind of poke away at the opposition while they are frozen. He also provides the assassin benefit, so as the Aces of Assassins. What you also have here is you have Slark, who with a Mask of Madness is going to be an absolutely lethal adversary, and someone that is completely being unused in the meta right now. Ember Spirit, and finally, Alchemist. Alchemist is there to basically provide a armor debuff to the entire team, a very large field of which improves your DPS. You are going an Essex here with the End of Medicine. The reason why you're doing that, the damage dealing in Essex, is because this End of Medicine is cast relatively early in the fight. Your assassins are not highly survivable. Support damage dealing Hobgoblin is a good second alternative, but that is cast much later in the fight, and there's a good chance a lot of your assassins are already dead by then. So End of Medicine, an Essex, is a little better because it's cast earlier. They get the damage increase earlier because it's all about burning down the opposition as fast as possible. Now let's get into the early game. All right, guys, in the early game you'll have something like this. What you're gonna have is you're aiming for 3 assassins. They could be really any assassins, but I'm asking you to target Nyx, Queen of Pain, and Ember Spirit. Bounty Hunter is a good switch up too, right? If you don't get Ember Spirit, for instance, because some people are still trying to experiment with spirits, although they're kind of low on the meta tier charts right now. You got a Bounty Hunter, that's fine. If you don't have an Ogre Magi, right, you can easily use a Broodmother eventually, because you do want Broodmother for the insect bonus, right? But let's say you don't pull a Broodmother right away. The reason why you want Tiny and Ogre Magi is simple. First of all, no one's taking Tiny because Primordials are garbage, but Tiny is very good at 1 and 2 stars. Totally uncontested. No one's going Primordials. His stun is excellent for your assassins to basically finish off units in the early game. Ogre Magi is great. It's going to protect your Essex. He's going to cast it himself. He's going to get jumped on, but he's also going to be providing DPS boosts in the form of Bloodlust to your assassins, who are the kind of carries of this composition. So if you are fortunate to get a Viper, right, definitely get Viper in there. He's not going to have the Dragon Knight synergy for a while. You're probably going to want to stay away from Snapfire. If you get a Snapfire, you can throw in there, but you're probably going to want to stay away from Snapfire because you want to have the 3 assassin bonus at any given time. But realistically, you can't just have 5 assassins out there. In the early game, you're going to want to have 2 units, 1 to protect an Essex, which is like an Ogre Magi, who's also going to provide the assassin benefit, and you are going to want literally Tiny. I think Tiny's the best choice here in the early game because his stun works excellent with the assassins. He's beefy and he's uncontested. In the early game, these are the units you are targeting, and let's go on to the mid game. In the mid game, you're going to have a composition that's something like this. Now, one thing I want to mention, you need to economy to 50 gold and get to level 8 before this strategy really starts to work, okay? So you're not going to be re-rolling. You're going to be taking the free re-rolls as they come, and you're going to be picking up the units that you're using, specifically these exact units on the screen, and you're going to be saving your gold. You're going to be leveling with your interest, and then once you get to level 8, that's when you're starting to re-roll using your interest in order to kind of 2 and 3 star these units. One thing that I want to make sure I mention to you is you don't want to run a wide bench. The reason for that is because if you're running a wide bench, that means you have a lot of money invested in your bench, and therefore that's money that's not being used towards your interest. You need to economy to level 8. Okay, so bear that in mind. This strategy works best if you economy to level 8, and then you start to reroll after that, okay? You will have the opportunity, a lot of these units are relatively uncontested. You will have several 2-star units. You're unlikely to have a 3-star unit at this point, but that's okay. You're aiming for 2 stars up until level 8. So what you have here is you have a composition here. This is the setup that I would suggest. You can put Broodmother back here if you're finding that people are jumping on top of an Essex. This is a good way to start. You can even switch the two if you wish. I like the idea of doing it this way because the cooldown on Alchemist is much faster. He has the opportunity of possibly casting two acid sprays. These are the units positioned in this manner. The reason for this is I want Queen of Pain to be jumping into the center area to amplify her AoE abilities. Overall though, the bench units that we have here are there for a specific reason. Those are your substitutes as you move into the late game. Now, when you move into the late game, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to, first of all, level 9, you're putting in Dragon Knight. That's your level 9 move. Dragon Knight goes in, you activate your Dragon Alliance, and Dragon Knight will start to lead in DPS more than likely. He's unbelievable. From there, let's say you pull a Disruptor. You put Disruptor in for the Alchemist. You're going to lose your Scrappy bonus, but you're still maintaining the Warlock bonus. The Warlock bonus is actually super important because your Assassins are super squishy, and that initial heal, especially from your 2 Warlocks up front, because they're both Warlocks, they're going to be taking a lot of upfront damage. That initial cast and that heal that they'll provide is going to keep your Assassins up. And then finally, when you have the opportunity to get the Faceless Void, you're taking out your Bounty Hunter and you're putting on Faceless Void. This is the exact setup you want. And this is the kind of the final build, 9 units. If you get to 10, add your best next available, whoever it might be, Gyrocopter, doesn't matter, right? Add your best available, but this is the complete build. Now, this is the positioning I would suggest. It doesn't really matter what the opposition's doing because you have so many units jumping into the opposing field. What you really want to do is protect your Essex, and you want to make sure that these 2 are casting, and you want your Dragon Knight in a somewhat protected position as well. There's really not much you should do with regards to positioning with this setup. This works pretty well. Let's talk about items. Now, with this build, there's going to be certain items that have a really high impact depending on which units you have the board, and I'm going to go through some of them right now. The first is Blink Dagger. Now, Blink Dagger, if you look at it, might not be a major assassin item. You might, why do I want a Blink Dagger? But you do. If you have a Queen of Pain, especially at 2 or 3 stars, Blink Dagger will allow Queen of Pain to cast her skill so much earlier and so much faster, it'll really start to burn down the opposition team, especially if she's getting into the meat of the opposition. A great item for Queen of Pain is the Blink Dagger. Honestly, it increases her DPS substantially. The second item is the Mask of Madness. Now, the Mask of Madness should be placed on Slark. Slark, being a unit with a passive ability, does not get the disadvantage of being silenced. He gains the lifesteal and he gains the attack speed. It'll help Slark really ramp up in DPS and keep him sustained throughout the fight. Fast attacking Slark is honestly completely crazy because it's hard to take him down because he's healing at the same time. Battle Fury. Battle Fury is fantastic on Ember Spirit. As he blinks around and as he's attacking, he's generating the additional cleave damage. An absolutely wonderful item for Ember Spirit. Moon Shard, another great offensive weapon. If I have a Moon Shard, I'm putting it on my Dragon Knight. Simply getting that auto attack going faster, especially depending on which dragon form he's in, is greatly going to increase his DPS. Other great items, right? In the earlier game, right? Chrysalis, a very good item. If you get it early, sure, why not, right? Put it on, put it on a relatively, good unit you have, whether it be, one of the stronger units you have in 2 stars early, for instance. Another great item, obviously the Stonehall Pike. This is an item that really starts to get crazy. Like if you have like a Viper early game, Viper could very easily have like 30-40 kills by the mid game. Seriously, Viper's a crazy unit. If you pull him nice and early, have him carry, honestly, and keep an eye as to who has the most kills in your team. Give him the Pike. And finally, Butterfly. Butterfly is absolutely unbelievable. 35 attack damage, 35 attack speed, and evasion, right? I would put this on your strongest available unit, right? Definitely, it can definitely go on Dragon Knight. It can go on your Faceless, because once he's in that the Void Prism, he's going to be going absolutely insane. A great item, absolutely fantastic. Those are the items you're targeting. Actually, talking about targeting, one other item goes pretty good is the Target Buddy. You wouldn't think so, but in this build here, what you can actually do is you can actually put Target Buddy up at front too, and it provides a lot of survivability, especially against any of the scrappy comps that kind of start in the front. What it's going to do is it's going to pull some of the DPS off of your assassins, because your assassins, the longer they survive, the greater the opportunity for you to win any given combat situation. So targeting Buddy, absorbing that damage and taking some of the heat off of your assassins will work wonders. Targeting Buddy is fantastic and a great counter to the current meta. Thank you guys so much for watching, and a special thank you to all my subscribers. I really hope that this guide helped you guys. Please let me know in the comments if you guys want to see more guides like this. Take care everyone, and best of luck in Dota Underlords.